Page 105, Harp Song. On page 104, they're introducing you to the damper pedal. Hopefully you have a handle on what your hands are doing now. You're not too lost, because now you got to start working a foot on top of all that. Thinking about a foot. The damper pedal is the right side pedal on your keyboard. If you have more than one pedal on your piano, it's the right one. If you have an electronic piano and you only have one pedal, that's it. It's the damper pedal. That's what we're interested in. And if your leg and foot is working properly, you need to use your right foot for this. You simply leave the heel on the ground and you pivot at the ankle, and you're just simply pushing the pedal down with basically the ball of the foot. The symbol for when they want you to use it, well, different publishers use different symbols. In this book, they're using the most common one, and it works pretty well. And that is, you have a line down, a line across, and a line up. That's all connected. The line down is telling you to push the pedal down, and the line across is telling you to keep the pedal down, and the line up is telling you to let the pedal up. Simple enough. The problem is, most books, including this one, don't necessarily tell you exactly when to push the pedal down or exactly when to lift it up. That's where a teacher comes in. They need to tell you. There are different pedaling styles. There are different ways of doing it. It depends on the music and what the music needs. So we'll talk about the pedal. I'm rather picky with pedals, so let's be careful with this. There are people who sit down at the piano and immediately put the foot on the pedal, which is okay, and then they pedal everything, which is not okay. You pedal when you have to. And different people have different opinions on pedal, naturally. The idea with pedal is it helps you to sustain the notes. For instance, if I push a key down without pedal, here, if I push it down with the pedal, I can take my hand away and the note still sounds. The problem is those two sounds are not the same. This one without pedal and this one with. You see, there's a lot of overtones in that second one because of the pedals down, and it's that change in tone that causes the concern. It changes the tone quality. A lot of people today consider it a special effects pedal, including me. Originally, back in the 1800s, when the pedals were first coming around, the late 17, early 1800s, those pianos could not sustain a note. When you pushed a note down, it didn't last very long. They were unable to play loud or sustain a note for very long. So people then could pedal a lot, and it didn't matter because the sounds didn't last very long anyway. The overtones weren't as big. But as pianos got bigger and stronger and louder, then the whole idea of the pedal changed. That's why we can't use Beethoven's pedal marks in his music today on today's pianos. They don't work. They just don't work. Because his pianos were totally different than our pianos. And other composers too. You have to be careful on pedal markings from composers. Well, the composer put this in. That's fine. Let's play it on the composer's piano then, and you do it that way. Otherwise, I'm adjusting the pedal. So exactly when you push the pedal down and when you lift the pedal up, I'm going to talk about that individually with each piece. Let's talk about Harp Song. Now, before you use pedal on a song, you've got to learn the song first. You want to learn it without the pedal because the pedal changes the sound. It puts all the overtones. It makes it more difficult to hear sounds with the pedal down. For instance, if I play the first line in Harp Song without pedal, it's this. You can hear distinctly each note. If I play the first line with pedal, it's this way. It's harder to hear each note because of all the other stuff going on. So when you first learn a song, always, please, learn it without the pedal. You add the pedal last. After you put in the phrasing, sometimes after you do the dynamics, sometimes you have to do the dynamics after you add the pedal because the pedal affects the dynamics. That's taken on an individual basis. for our purposes, we're going to do the dynamics and then we're going to add the pedal on these pieces here. I approach a piece of music with a particular order of steps in learning it. That's what I've been doing in these videos, more or less. Well, the pedal is another step we have to add, and it's done last. So in a harp song, let's talk about it. 3/4 time. It is repeated. We're going to play it twice. You're in G position here, and you're playing broken chord, or you're playing these chords one note at a time. It's a G chord. The first the first line is just a G chord. The second line is that D7 chord, and then the third line G chord, and the last line G7 and a G. So we're just playing chords, and I already told you about a block chord is all the notes at the same time. Well, when you play it in any other pattern like this, one note at a time or whatever, it's called a broken chord. So you have block chords and broken chords. The book, I don't recall the book talking about broken chords, so I avoided saying it, but I can't avoid it anymore because these are all just broken chords. And a broken chord, there's all kinds of patterns for a broken chord. Anything that is not block is broken. As in split up somewhere, not busted up, but split up somewhere. Phrasing wise, you have this. So you're going to lift up at the end of the phrase. Pedal's going to cover it up, doesn't matter, but go ahead and lift up at the end of each of these phrases anyway. Then you have the dynamics. Well, two dynamics, M, F, and P, and they tell you what they mean. They don't need to do that, but they're being nice. First time we're going to play it M, F, and there's no melody here. It's all the same. Moderately loud. Then when you repeat it, you're going to play it soft. And that's pretty much the piece. It says moderately slow, whatever that is. It's up to you what you think moderately slow is. It's the overall flow of the piece that's moderately slow, not the individual beats. So I don't want each beat to be slow. This thing will take forever. It's got to flow slowly, sort of. And then we add the pedal. There's different techniques for pedal. We're going to start with the most common used, and that's called the lag pedal. The lag pedal is where the pedal goes down right after you play the notes. So that vertical line for the pedal mark would be after the note, not under it. What they're doing here is they want you to push it down with the note together. And what I want you to do is I want you to play the note first and then the pedal. Like so. I want to start the note first before I release the overtones is what I'm after. It's a different sound. So we're going to do that each time. So the first line, I'm going to hold it down for the whole line. Here, I'll push the note first and then the pedal. And at the end of the line, I'm going to lift the pedal with the hand. When I release the note, I'm going to lift the pedal with it at the same time. So I want to hear silence between each line is what I'm after. Then after I release it, the next line, I'm going to push it down right after I play the first note. I'm going to hold it down for the whole line, and I'm going to release it at the end of the line with the hand. So there's silence between each line. At least I hear some of the phrasing. And then the last line, I'm going to lift it between the phrases. You see it? It comes up. There's some space in there. So the last line, I push the pedal down right up to the note. I'm going to lift it with the hand, with the last note in the second measure. It comes up, and then push it down right after I play the next note. And at the end, the pedal in the hand comes up, or the note comes up at the same time. The pedal takes a little getting used to, so give yourself some time on this. It's no big deal. The important points I need to make for it is do it exactly as I'm describing, and always add the pedal last. Learn the song first without it, and then add the pedal last. So let's try this out slowly together, not doing any dynamics. So just going to do the notes and the rhythms and the pedaling, They have optionals at the bottom. I'm not going to do those. You can do those on your own, where you can play the hands octaves higher or lower or whatever. Have fun with that if you want. You know, it doesn't affect the paddling or any of that. So I'll give us 3 counts, so let's do this together. 1, ready, go.